But yeah, I guess the closest thing we have now is the Reddit AI analysis of our profiles.
Dude, the fact that they just like, maybe they made an announcement about that, but if they did, I didn't see it. But they just like rolled it out as like, now you can do, and like some of them are pretty funny unintentionally.
Yes.
But
no, we don't like it. I don't want clankers, telling me I don't like that at all. And
I hate all of the like summaries that include people's other Reddit activity. Like, that's just unrelated to our subreddit at all. I don't like it. It feels invasive.
Oh wait, can I read yours?
Yeah, read mine.
Sorry. Hold on, so I don't know why this is getting me so good. Hold on. Contributes to r/Denver protests with a podcast about local issues. Also posts in childcare subreddits offering advice on nanny practices. Other posts include pepper identification and a PSA.
Oh yeah. I don't know, and that's funny because I tried to get it to identify. I did post to identify a pepper, and the fucking hot pepper subreddit was completely fucking useless.
I think we might have already laughed about this before we were talking about, but this I think is my favorite AI one. User posts frequently in Denver protests regarding political activism, flag burning, and government actions. Also posts about cockatoos. Comments are occasionally argumentative.
I know. That one was so funny. It's like,
that one's so good, dude. Welcome to the Denver Protest Podcast. It is Sunday, September 7th, 2025. My name is AJ. I'm here with our co-hosts, Bug.
Hey, yeah.
Hey, and Constant Gardner.
Hello. How's it going?
It's going pretty well.
Happy Sunday,
it's
everybody.
Going pretty well overall. Yeah.
September's a good month.
So, was that?
I said September's a good month here in Denver.
Interesting. I'm kind of new. I always associate September with like going back to school, so I don't like it.
Well, yeah, but like I haven't been in school in like 25 years. Or no, not 25. 15 years. It's been a long time since I've been in school. I just like it because I feel like the weather's good. You know, it's like not too hot, not too cold.
It is
We're
like
just
perfect weather
hanging out.
Sure.
You know, it's before it gets too dark and the seasonal depression sets in. But yeah, so first
I'll
Sunday
co-sign that all the way.
Yeah.
First Sunday in September. Yeah. We had, I think what we could all agree on, a relatively quiet protest week. I would say probably the biggest event was 5051's Labor Day thing. I couldn't find the exact title of it, so we're just going to refer to it as that. It was decently attended, probably not as much as some of their other events that they've orchestrated this year, but there were a decent amount of people out there, especially for holiday weekend where a lot of people do travel and do all that stuff. But yeah, there wasn't anything really too crazy to report from that. I was down there. There were two marches. I'm pretty sure it was, pretty, as we say, libbed up. But at a certain point, I personally get tired of, bashing on the fucking, suburbanites who come down and just kind of want to hang out and stumble around Lincoln Park for a couple hours. That, they're going to do what they're going to do, and they're going to have bad opinions about the things they have bad opinions about. And there's going to be a lot of, calling the president a Cheeto, which fine. But you know what actually was, I did notice there was a lot of people kind of like sucking their teeth being like, yeah, I really hope he's dead. Which was kind of nice to see among that kind of crowd, but
yeah.
Yeah,
And,
you saw
you
kind
know,
of all your normal. No, go ahead. Sorry.
oh, no, no one loves to hate on the libs more than me, but I will say that at least the libs that show up to the protests are showing up for something. You know, like we at least need to give them credit, even if we're not ideologically aligned or if they have some annoying opinions. At least they are, you know, driving their asses downtown and marching, which is more than you could say for a lot of people. So, you know, we'll credit where credit's due.
As my Discord like status has said for a few weeks now, you can't bully people into revolution. So it's like, well, you know, ideologically things are different. Like being mean to them isn't going to make them march with us or get them educated on, you know, revolutionary things that we need the education. Like we need to get that to people, and being an asshole just doesn't go very far.
I think Stalin would take issue with that take, but that's okay.
Sometimes there's a man.
Sometimes there's a man.
I won't say hero.
Exactly.
Most accurate political analysis of Joseph Stalin that I've ever heard. He's a man for his time and place.
He fits right in there. But yeah, anyway, you were saying?
No, I mean that's pretty much it. Yeah, I think and my thing with like hating on like the libs is it reads to me as kind of like a little like I used to feel that way a lot when I was kind of first, I don't want to say like politically maturing, but like I was moving in my kind of beliefs from kind of like a bog standard, like, you know, Democrat. And then I would just like start getting angry at people that really basically held the beliefs I'd held like 6 months ago.
Sure.
You know, which, you know, no one fucking falls out of the womb having read Das Kapital. I mean, I guess there are red diaper babies, but I don't think they can read. But you know, I think just have grace for these people, like you were saying. Like they come out, like, do they have too many Ukraine flags? Yeah. Do they have probably abhorrent opinions about Israel and its genocide? Almost certainly. You're not gonna all that you're doing by screaming at them is making yourself feel better, is kind of what I think about that.
For sure.
But yeah. And I hate the libs. Just to be clear, I fucking hate them. But
at least they're coming out and showing up to the things, because there are, you know, for all of the, you know, the annoying ones that do show up and try to police the chants that we do, there are many that just, you know, don't pay attention to what's happening at all, or that, you know, do but just want to like complain on Facebook and don't want to actually, you know, show up. So it's like showing up is the first step. So we do have to, you know, and on the lib scale, the libs that are showing up to the protests are better than the ones that aren't, I guess. So that's all I'll give them. But, you know, it's something.
No, that's totally fair. And, you know, there were some more, you know, there are organizations down there, I think, hit more closely with the ethos of, you know, us, you know, DSA, DACAC, DAWA.
FRSO led the march, right?
FRSO led the march. So, you know, not to say it was like totally fucking Young Democrats or, you know, the Seattle 7 or whatever the fuck. I bet they were probably cool. Anyway, that was the Labor Day event. And I know that we also had the a clothing swap held by the Democratic Socialists, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. So I went to that earlier today, and it wasn't a protest. It was just a little low-key event that DSA put on. It was gender-affirming clothing swap. So I love to see this kind of mutual aid type stuff. I think it's really important, you know, as the economy gets shittier, it's really good to, you know, instead of like taking your clothes to the Ark or, God forbid, Goodwill, you know, just take them to like a mutual aid type thing where they can go directly to the people who need them for free, and we don't need to have a middleman. So yeah, this was hosted by DSA's Trans Rights Working Group, and it was at like a little church kind of on the east side. And I did not stay. I just brought 2 big containers of clothes and shoes and stuff that I've been meaning to give away. But it was cute and it was great. And I think that is the kind of thing that we should see more of, So if that resonates with you, start your own clothing, host your own clothing swap, or other type of mutual aid event. You can make it a regular ongoing thing or just like a one-time thing. But yeah, and the gender affirming parts, like, when you are trans, a lot of times they're like, trans people are generally like paid a lot less, have a lot harder time getting work because of transphobia. So they like have more economic barriers. And also, if you think about it, if you have, been wearing men's clothing your whole life and then you come out as trans and you're transitioning, that means you have to like buy a whole new wardrobe, which is crazy. And so I love the idea of like a bunch of my clothes going to somebody who is going to be really happy to wear them. So yeah, it was cute. And we love to see more of that, and shout out the DSA Trans Rights Working Group for hosting that.
I think it's also like when you're transitioning, finding your style is a big thing too, and like buying clothes gets expensive really even thrifted, like it gets expensive really quickly.
Sure.
So
yeah, that totally makes sense, because it's like, if you, like, I have been finding my style forever and I've gone many iterations, but it's like I have a friend that just transitioned. She like just turned 30 and she transitioned 2 years ago. And so it's like she's kind of going through all of this stuff that I went through as a teenager, of like figuring out like what she wants to wear and who she wants to be and all of these things. And so, yeah, it's great to be able to let people kind of try on different things, and then, and rather than spending money. Plus, I hate to be the old person here, but it's like clothes just aren't made how they used to be, and they're all crappy. And so like, everything you buy is like crappy and falls apart. So it's good to like, I have some stuff that, is older, but like still in fantastic condition, because I'm basically a hoarder of clothing. So yeah, we love to see it and be part of it.
We do love to see it. Very cool. I'm sorry, you may have said, but is that like a recurring thing? Do we know, or is this a one-off?
I think this is the first one that they've done, so it's not like something they're doing on a regular monthly basis or whatever. But I would guess if this one ended up successful, which it sure seemed to be, there was a lot of donations there and quite a few people shopping through them. So I would imagine they'll probably do another one at some point. But we don't. As of right now, it was just like a one-off.
Nice. Okay. Right on. But yeah, definitely support that. Another DSA thing that happened, we didn't really do a lot of research about this, but
and by that you mean we did no research.
No, I don't think you could say what we did really for most things. Well, we'll see, because this episode this is a very eat your vegetables kind of episode. That was,
yeah, this is
I was going to say this one specifically kind of puts a lie to that, but no, there was a event or an action or a thing for the zoo by DSA to get the zoo to drop Chevron as one of their sponsors. I know that they had done a similar thing with the marathon earlier this year. I'm not sure
and they were
whether
successful.
or not that was successful. Oh, they were? Okay, well,
yes.
There you go.
Yes.
So
yeah, and they did the same thing with the center, and the center, I believe, did drop Chevron. The center is like the LGBTQ org that puts on Pride. And I'm pretty sure, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure they announced after Pride and everything that they did cut ties with Chevron. So
everyone quote Constant Gardner about that.
Yeah, everyone
directly,
quote,
please.
Or feel free to yell at me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that happened. So like, these organizations do listen. Sometimes, not always, but like, why not try?
Why not try? Yeah, especially if there is a track record of success in that area. So that's cool. We definitely do support that. We also had, of course, the Jeanette Vizgara Vigil happening on Mondays. But I think those were the top things from the week past, unless you guys have anything else.
Just like, all the other weekly things that kind of get assimilated into the brain, like the 50/51's been running their overpass stuff.
Right.
CD7 Watermelon they do a vigil every Saturday morning. for Palestine. But yeah, in terms of the big things, I think we got it.
Excellent. So yeah, that was the week in kind of local events and actions and things like that. It was also a relatively slower news week as well. I think everyone's just kind of like getting back into the flow after summer, but we did want to do a quick follow-up on the police shooting in Aurora, which when we recorded last week, it had happened the night before. So there wasn't a whole lot of information about that. And there is still, you know, as these things are, information kind of trickling out in fits and starts. But we do have the name of the man who was shot. It was after a traffic stop, as we mentioned, or attempted a traffic stop. There is body camera footage that they are, again, kind of slowly releasing. There is a video out there somewhere, but there wasn't one in the article that I found, but it is out there somewhere. I have seen it. And again, it's a lot of this stuff of like, did the man who was shot, was he being aggressive towards the officer? Like, there's, you know, mentioned in this article about the officer attempting to punch the man or physically like distance himself from the man as the man was getting closer to him. Yeah, you know, as we know, Aurora PD and pretty much every police department in this country, you know, they have burned through any amount of goodwill they could have ever had. So they do not get the benefit of the doubt on anything. And, you know, the officer who shot this man does apparently have some level of history of reports about his conduct. You know, according to the chief of police of Aurora, those reports, or those complaints, I should say, are nothing major. I don't know, you know, but
yeah, nothing major is very relative. I don't know that I trust APD's assessment of that. But I guess we'll find out. I think that's part of like the police accountability rules, is they have to release the body camera and they have to like tell us if the officer had previous complaints. Again, don't quote me on that, but I think that's a thing. So we'll find out hopefully soon enough.
Yeah, I think there's still stuff, you know, coming out, and I think there will still be more stuff coming out. There's mention of the man who was shot throwing a gun away from himself when he was, you know, trying to be stopped and getting out of the car. But we'll put the article in the show notes, and we'll probably continue to at least make passing reference to this as it continues to develop. So we just wanted to make sure we did a follow-up about that. In somewhat lighter news, we're losing Space Command, and I don't know, is Space just going to run wild here? Like, how are we going to control Space if we're losing Space Command?
Isn't it Space Force?
It's Space Command Headquarters.
It's Space Command. Okay, well, that shows how much attention I pay to that bullshit. Yeah, right. Space is going to run rampant. It's moving to Alabama. Space is moving to Alabama.
Space is moving to Alabama.
So that's, you know, big loss for Colorado, I guess. But no, I mean, really not a big loss.
Yeah.
No. There's enough kind of
neutral towards leaning towards positive about something like this, because
yeah, I think it's probably a net. There's enough fucking feds out here. There's enough, you know. Colorado is a very kind of like, there's huge military presence out here. Fucking NORAD is here. Like, there's all that stuff. I think we're good with the amount of that kind of shit. Yeah, we're all set.
If Alabama wants space,
they can have it.
And they can have it. That's fine.
They can have it. I think this is one of the...
Go ahead.
Sorry. No. Go ahead.
It does suck for the people who were living in Colorado, and then if they want to keep their job, have to move to Alabama. Like, that is a tough move. Sucks for them.
Yeah. But Huntsville isn't that bad. Like, no, in terms of like Alabama as a whole, like, it's, you know, it's a college town. It's a little wealthier, a little more blue than the rest of the state. I mean, it's still Alabama, but it's
Roll
It's
Tide.
not a death.
Yeah, Roll Tide.
You like that?
Dude, you're a
I know
secret sports fan. You
I
keep
know
making these
sports.
fucking sports references. That
I went to Florida
I
State,
know.
so that makes my
man.
skin crawl.
Yeah, but whatever. I mean, the housing's going to be cheaper for him there, so they'll at least have that going for him, I guess.
Housing will be way cheaper, and I'm willing to bet that any of the people who are like moving have at minimum 6-figure jobs and probably do shit that isn't good.
Probably.
So,
Yeah,
yeah, I think this
whatever.
is one of like the very narrowly defined areas where I agree with Lauren Boebert. Because she is upset. I am also pro getting groped in a theater.
Yes.
You know, I think that's another area where I'm narrowly defined with her. But
Are you
yeah.
pro vaping in a Broadway
I
show?
think it's so. We obviously weren't like, we didn't even know each other when that was happening. But I feel like if that happened when we knew each other, we would talk about that nonstop. Like her going to the fucking Beetlejuice musical in vaping and getting kicked out. That's the coolest thing she's ever done.
It's by far the coolest thing she's ever done. Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, Boebert. What did she say about Space Command? She's anti it leaving or pro it leaving?
No, she wants it to stay because of like
Oh.
it's taken the jobs and
Yeah, well,
whatever the
whatever.
fuck. Because I
Okay.
guess it is technically in her district because she changed districts in the congressional map. Like I don't know. But
She's
she
a wily
tweeted
one.
it.
I can never keep track of where her bitch ass is, and I thought I don't fucking know.
She gets up to shit.
She does get
We
up
should
to
do.
shit.
Oh God, we're gonna do a Boebert episode.
We could
at some
do a
point,
Boebert
right?
episode.
Yeah.
She's a
So bye bye Space Command. Bye bye.
Bye. Tragedy.
No huge loss. Yeah.
Nah. Whatever.
Yeah, I think it is her district because District 4 is such a weird shape. Sorry, I had to pull it up to look at it. Because like it includes Loveland, which is way up north, and like the whole Eastern Plains, and then like
it like
dips
wraps
in
around,
under the
right?
city.
Like
yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah, we gotta gerrymander
that's
that
exactly what I was
shit.
saying.
It's probably already gerrymandered. I don't really know what the whole
Colorado
deal is
isn't too bad in terms of gerrymandering,
yet.
in my opinion, at least.
Yet.
And that's why we have 4 representatives from each party. Like, I feel like that's a testament to political fairness, even if it doesn't really line up with the population of the state. Like, I feel like we'd be more of like a 5-3 state in terms of population, but it is what it is.
Yeah, numbers wise, but like the rest of Colorado is pretty conservative. It's just Denver and Boulder are the outliers, but that's like where all the people live. But the rest, the whole Eastern Plains is like reactionary as hell. The whole Western Slopes reactionary as hell. So
that's where Boebert, she fucking she jumped from the Western Slope to the Eastern Plains.
Right. That's why I get confused. That's why it's confusing, because I think of her as like a weird mountain.
No, that's so funny because she is exactly what she is. She's a fucking weird Grand Junction, conservative or whatever the fuck with her stupid
weird
restaurant.
Part of Colorado.
Yeah.
Good peaches though.
We also had, this is kind of interesting that we'll probably do some more follow-ups on. There's a new ballot measure proposing a removal of the state's flat income tax, proposing a graduated income tax, which would raise taxes on anyone earning, I think it's more than $520,000. So it would lower lower your income tax if you're making less than that threshold, raise it on a graduated scale going up to $10 million plus, going up on like a graduated scale up to $10 million plus, with the idea that flat taxes are kind of inherently regressive, and I don't think it makes a lot of sense, and I probably willing to bet a lot of folks agree that, somebody who is making more than $10 million should probably pay maybe just a little bit more than someone who's making $40,000.
Seriously. I mean, it's crazy that we actually do pay a fair amount of taxes in this country. It's just not the way that we pay them is different from a lot of other countries. But yeah, we should, you know, just because we pay a lot in sales tax, which is basically just like a tax on the poor, like sales tax really fucks us over.
It's a super regressive tax system.
So it would be,
tax,
I mean, obviously I'm very, very much in support of this, because if you're making $500,000 a year, you can afford to pay a little bit more in taxes. Like you're, you know, I just am not, I don't care. So hopefully that will end up on the ballot, because I would imagine that it will pass.
I remember, I think it was in 2020 where they tried to do something similar to this. I don't think it wound up passing, but because I think what happens, you know, people just, I don't know who people are, but you can imagine somebody seeing like, oh, tax increase, no, you know, but like, and this is the thing, it would lower taxes for people making $250,000. It would keep the same tax rate for people making $500,000. So if it does get on the ballot, and I guarantee we're going to hear a lot of like the fucking whinging and bitching about it, it's just so frustrating, because like you were saying, like it affects so few people, and people, if you're making $1 million, you can pay 1.8% more in tax and effectively notice no impact or degradation of quality to your life.
Right. And that's actually, you know, and that we need that tax money. So pay up, Richies.
Pay the fuck up, or it's going to get a lot worse for you before it gets better.
Yes.
There's I was in this article that, again, we'll link, an advocacy organization named Advanced Colorado is alleging that this measure is trying to play class warfare. That's Advanced Colorado President Michael Fields.
Okay, well, don't worry about the
class war, baby.
Do you promise, Michael Fields? I like the sound of that.
Yeah. He's saying it in the least cool way possible.
Right. He means class war derogatory, but that's not how I'm taking it.
Right. So. It's like I was saying class war, like the Simpsons meme. No, so Michael Fields, fuck you and your fucking organization, everything that you stand for as a person. And I hope that this gets on the ballot, and it will certainly have our support. So
yeah, we will update you as we get more, you know, as more news comes out about it, and if it makes it on the ballot and all that.
Hell yeah. Waymo is here.
Boo! Boo! Yeah. Down with the clankers! Boo!
Down with
Waymo
clankers.
Is the, for anyone who doesn't know, the self-driving car service that I think they started rolling them out either last year or 2 years ago, but Denver is one of the most recent rollouts. There were some pictures I saw online of them like driving around the Golden Triangle, which a weird fucking name for a place, I just have to say, unrelated to the Waymos, but the Waymos are here. You can guess who supports them. Colorado Governor Jared Polis for our weekly Polis Patrol.
It's like this man supports everything terrible and opposes everything good. He is such a goddamn villain. Of course he's pro fucking Waymo.
Of course he's pro Waymo. And it's just like, yeah, he's just anything, if you put anything like with the word like innovation in front of him, he just starts like drooling. Like, here's his quote: "I'm excited to help Coloradans get where we want to go faster, safer, with additional transportation options. Our state is driven by innovation," cool, "and the arrival of Waymo's autonomous vehicle technology in Denver is a step forward. We welcome Waymo to Colorado." And like, look, this doesn't move the needle for me very much, but it moves the needle for me in that I fucking hate cars and think they should be more or less made illegal. That's a little extreme, but I also do kind of believe that. But it sucks that on a kind of grander scale, that there's all of this money and energy and resources devoted to like, how can we make cars more the dominant species of our planet and not move towards other ways of getting people around. So that's where I kind of land on it anyway. But
absolutely, that's not what we should be focusing on. And I don't know. I mean, again, turning more and more into a Luddite, but like, I'm not convinced that is more safe. You know, like I don't trust a robot I don't know. I guess they have them in San Francisco or whatever, or in LA too. That was a really funny thing actually during the LA ICE protests. People kept like ordering the Waymos and then setting them on fire when they showed up.
Okay,
so
that's
like,
pretty cool. Yeah, I remember the pictures of the burning Waymos.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
That's, you know, not that we would condone illegal activity. Of course, we don't condone that. We're just reporting on the news that other people did, because property destruction is really bad. But yeah, so that was kind of funny. So you know, maybe it could lead to some hilarious hijinks like that. But I don't know. I feel like I believe that like that kind of shit, like overall, probably has much better statistics in terms of like not causing accidents. But like the problem is it's like when it goes bad, it's going to go really bad. Like when it malfunctions and they all run into each other, like that's sort of what I'm picturing. And
or also, they drive you headfirst into traffic.
Exactly. And it's like a huge Waymo pileup. Also, I just listened to the TrueNon, one of the TrueNons about Elon Musk and Tesla, and like that self-driving shit is it's a death trap. It's not good. It is a death trap. But to be fair, Elon Musk is a piece of shit who everything he touches turns to shit. So maybe we shouldn't judge all self-driving cars based on his failure. So, all right, whatever. I don't take Lyft and Uber very often, but I will still choose a human driver over a clanker. But I guess if
I've read some interviews on this topic over the years, and the programmers who write the programs for these vehicles, a lot of them won't actually use that shit. So
that's pretty funny.
Absolutely. I've heard that about Tesla engineers and Tesla coders too, that they are like, I would never ever ride in a Tesla on self-driving mode.
And it's not even just like, Tesla, it's like the whole industry,
the
like
whole industry for sure. So like, if the people that are working on it are like, that shit's fucking scary, that is like the best indication that like we should listen to those people, listen to the workers. We know what's up. So
yeah, and it's definitely, if someone is like, I make this product, don't use it, I would listen to them on that account. But and also to me, I think this is just like another step in desocializing people and atomizing people and severing social connections, because and again, it's not anyone's like fucking job or purpose in life to like listen to me at 3:00 in the morning just vent about whatever the fuck while I'm drunk in the back of an Uber. But like, that's a human interaction, or like in even a less extreme example, like when you get in lifts, or like when I get in lifts, I talk to the drivers, fucking learn about where they're from, and like I've had
so many great conversations in Ubers and Lyfts, like so many great conversations.
100%.
And I don't want to give that up,
No. And it's like, I don't think that like, I'm not trying to like be like, there needs to be people to listen to me talk, and that's part of like a societal good. But I do think that, I guess I do, because we're doing a podcast, but
yes.
I do think that this is just another way to like make it so, and this is what we fucking get for putting the computer people in charge of everything. It's another way to get people to not interact with people.
Right.
It's
and that's
another
bad.
Fucking way.
That's bad.
That is bad,
guys.
That is fundamentally bad.
Take, but like, we need human interaction. It's sort of a fundamental component of our species' survival, and the more we get away from that, the worse off we are, I think, as individuals and as a society. So, whatever.
No, I agree 100%.
And I agree too, like, we should be doing public transit, not Waymo. Public transit.
We should be doing public transit. One of the worst things that this city ever did was get rid of its goddamn streetcars. And I see old pictures of like old timey Denver in the streetcars going down Colfax, and like people in like their flapper hats and doing fucking recreational opium or whatever you did in the 20s, and just like, bring me back.
Seriously,
give me the streetcars.
Streetcars are so cool.
Name it Desire if you want.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And the name of Desire. Tennessee Williams reference. How about that?
Also on the Polis watch, Polis patrol. I honestly didn't know he was like an avowed Swiftie. This was news to me.
Yeah. He's a big Swiftie. Big Swiftie. When she came here for the Eras tour a couple years ago, he released like an official governor memo welcoming her to the city, and it had like a bunch of references to her songs. And like, for what it's worth, I actually think Taylor Swift gets like too much hate. Yes, she is a billionaire. All billionaires are trash, but I do think in like the grand scheme of billionaires, she's not even like in the top 80% of most evil ones, and there are so many more that deserve so much more smoke than her. So it just kind of bothers me. I feel like that she gets an inordinate amount of hate. So, but I'm also, to be clear, I'm not a Swiftie. I am an enjoyer of bad pop music, so I like I say like I like her songs like a normal amount. I would never like pay $1 million to go see her in concert, and I'm not like salivating over her album releases and stuff. But Jared Polis is and has been for a long time, and so he tweeted. You know, it was about like making sure that Coloradans get access to vaccines, which we do support. Actually, that's good. We like vaccines, especially now that fucking RFK Jr. is trying to, you know, take them away or whatever and give us all polio. So it was about that. He just said, like, we need to take swift action, and then tweeted a picture of Taylor Swift. And it's like, just stop trying to be cute. You're not cute. You're not funny. No one likes you. Shut the fuck up. That's my take.
That's like such a tortured reference. It's such a tortured poets department reference to make. I do like Taylor Swift.
Okay.
But again, in a normal way,
that
not
tracks.
in a 1989 is a great album, but not in a. But it's like it's very. Trying very hard, like, how do you do fellow Swifties music band shirt?
Meanwhile, he's getting eviscerated in all of his like public comment sections because everybody's fucking done with him.
Yeah,
I feel like the relationship with him in the state at this point is really just like a bad marriage that you stay in because of the mortgage, and in this case the mortgage is his term limit. Just like, let's just get it fucking paid off.
I feel like we're in the midst of the divorce
again.
Proceedings. Like, there is an end date in sight, but you have to get there.
Yeah, when are we voting for our next
year?
Democrat? Next year? Okay.
Mm-hmm. So he'll be out of office in January
probably
of 27.
Probably going to be Phil Weiser, who is also, whatever. It's just a rotating, you know, roster of Democrat jackasses. So I'm not holding out much hope, but I guess it'll be good to get like a new one to hate and you know, complain about for slightly different reasons.
As long as he has as long as he's not, his net worth isn't like $200 million. That will make him a little bit more palatable to me, at least to start. Obviously, depends what he does.
Let's never have a multimillionaire governor ever again.
God, I wish. Yeah. I don't know.
So we're definitely sleeping on the couch for this relationship.
As a state.
We're on the couch.
We're on the couch.
We haven't had sex in like 6 years.
Spending a lot of time at the bar with our coworkers.
A lot of time at the bar.
Happy hour. Everybody's sick of hearing us complain, but we're trapped because of the mortgage. So, yeah.
We're trapped in a loveless gubernatorial relationship. That's sad. We also had, we're going to do a quick wolf watch. I'm going to try to make this a recurring thing because we got good feedback, in as much as we get feedback about our wolf support. So maybe we can get someone to make like a wolf noise that we put in before the wolf watch. That would be cool. Oh my gosh. We don't have that right now. But there was a wolf on the Western Slope who was killed by CPW for meeting the, quote, chronic depredation criteria, which I guess basically means in this case the wolf killed 6 sheep. So they killed the wolf. But
Boo.
Okay, well, that's a fucking bummer.
It is. I mean, yeah, that's and you know, I don't really have like a good baseline for like wolf statistics. We will soon though. But yeah, I didn't know, like, is that a lot of sheep? I have fucking no idea. But no, there was someone from the Center for Biological Diversity who said this about the wolf. After surviving the brutal Rocky Mountain winter alone following his family's relocation in 2024, this young wolf deserved a chance to reunite with his family or find a mate. And honey, just fucking put that in my Twitter bio. Like, that's... So that hit me where
That's
I
so
live.
sad. I hate that
I
shit.
know.
So I don't know. One of my favorite podcasts is called Tooth and Claw, and it's like a wildlife biologist that talks about animal attacks from you know, like a non-sensationalized I guess conservation biology lens. And one of the things that he says is that, like, you know, he works with bears primarily, but he's like, you know, when there's like a balancing act with wildlife, and when basically like they have to kill the problem ones, because if they don't, then like public sentiment turns on the whole species. So like if a wolf has gotten used to killing sheep, I mean, that's really what it is. It's like if they one-off kill livestock, it's whatever, but it's like if we're habitually killing sheep and we're like, okay, this is like an easy prey for me and this is just where I'm going to get my food, then like that's why they have to do it. Like, I still don't support it, and I don't understand why these people don't have like, I mean, I don't actually know, and I'm a city slicker who has no business. But like, don't they have a fucking Great Pyrenees or something to like? They need like livestock guarding dogs. Like, I'm sure that they know this, but like, there are dog breeds that are really, really good at protecting your livestock. So like, do you guys not have those? I don't know. Maybe I should give them some hot tips.
Listen, I'm sure Jake Gyllenhaal's available. Like, come on, what are we doing? Like, yeah.
Yeah, we're still pro wolf, and you know, that's a bummer. And but whatever, I guess the sheep are more important there. It's like, who's even eating sheep in this fucking country? This isn't Europe.
In this economy.
Who's eating sheep in this economy? Frankly, we should. I mean, it's a much, you know, more sustainable type of livestock to raise sheep and goats are than cattle. But
no, listen, the only way to get the meat that you want is to flatten a portion of the Amazon the size of Rhode Island and divert all of your water to growing cattle feed.
Right.
That's the only way to get the meat that you want.
Right. God forbid we eat sheep and goats in this fucking country. Jesus.
Anything else is actual communism. Have you read
True
1984? Anyway,
yeah,
that's the news.
Anyway.
Oh, fuck, God, that was such a blown layup, dude. Oh, man, thank you.
Have you read Animal Farm?
That's
sorry.
If you have, call our tip line.
Yeah, the tip line.
Because we're going to be establishing a tip line, which is a phone number that you can call if you have eaten sheep or read Animal Farm or are a wolf yourself and want to let us know how you're feeling.
Right, and want to set the record straight about we're gonna roll it out. So so keep your eyes peeled there, because we're excited and we hope somebody calls.
And that's the thing. This is the thing. If you do call in, you are basically guaranteed to be on this show because you'll probably be the only person who calls in.
That's correct.
So if that matters to you at all,
yeah,
we'll put the number in the description at some point.
Yeah, when we do it. How about that?
All right. Okay. Hell yeah. That was the news. I know that we have a lot to talk about as we do our follow-up episode to our episode 2 weeks ago. But Bug, I know that you did, put in a lot of legwork for this, so I want to pass the mic over to you.
Yeah. So yeah, 2 weeks ago we talked about the West High blowout and the Chicano moratorium. And we just wanted to keep that foundation moving forward. And talk more about, I think I briefly mentioned UMass, which is the United Mexican American Students, which was an organization at CU Boulder that was founded in 1968. I just wanted to talk more about UMass and kind of some of their their struggles and notable things that happened there. So going back to literally what I just said, UMass was founded in 1968, and it was an equal opportunity program at CU Boulder, which basically is kind of what it sounds like, which is just as a program designed to aid minority students in access to education. One of the foundational goals of UMass was the advancement of the Mexican American in university and community. That comes directly from their application to be a student organization. And Pete Reyes was the first president of UMass, and he was quoted in a student newspaper as saying, "The purpose of UMass is to formulate a philosophy for our people and provide hope for future generations of Mexican Americans." So basically, like, the main early goals of UMass were to increase enrollment and access to financial aid for Chicano students. In 1967, before UMass was created, there were 28 full-time Mexican American students at CU Boulder. And UMass and just the school in general increased the flow of financial aid and really targeted like recruitment of minority students. And so in 1969, 278 new Chicanos enrolled at CU Boulder, and in 1972 that number had grown to 950.
Wow, that's crazy. So when it was 28 to when it was 950, how many years was that?
5.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And that was that was while they also battled issues from the administration.
As well as everybody just being real fucking racist too.
Yeah. Yeah. Between the students, the non-Chicano students and the administration and just white Coloradans in general. This is a huge fucking problem.
Well, I can only imagine what it would have been like, because I don't know what the demographics of like Boulder in general or like CU Boulder as a whole were back then, but like it's pretty white now. But I can only imagine what it would have been like 50 years ago.
Yeah, I actually don't know how many students CU Boulder had enrolled in 1967, but I'm sure it was thousands, and only 28 of them were Chicano. Like, that's a terrifying discrepancy, especially with, like we said, the rampant racism. They actually had outside folks come in and like do a report and like an investigation on how UMass and the school administration like functioned together, which I linked the report, so we can put that in the show notes if anybody wants to read through that. It was pretty interesting. One of the like main complaints of the administration, like the CU administration, was that UMass was too powerful and they were doing like too much that they felt was not, like, it wasn't in their jurisdiction to cover. It was things the school should have been doing, like student recruitment, and like setting curriculum for certain things. And one of the conclusions of the report basically was just like, no, like, UMass should be doing these things because they have the knowledge and the experience and the cultural ties to be spearheading these initiatives and actually being effective, versus the school, which obviously, like, pre-UMass had double-digit students and then exploded into almost quadruple-digit students. Like, obviously CU Boulder was not doing enough before, and like it took people coming in, forming their own organization to address the needs of their community to actually be effective in doing that, while also battling the administration.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, like, I can only imagine how many times the word uppity was used or something to that effect when, like, behind closed doors, when the administration of the university was, like, considering, or, like, God, I'm sure much worse words were used than just that, but it really does ring of this idea of, like, yeah, like, why are you, causing such a ruckus over this or something, like,
Yeah, well, and I feel like
yeah.
you can really see that. Like, if you read through that report, there's a portion where the reporters or the investigators, or whatever title they used, essentially asked for like the administration's complaints of UMass, and then UMass was like given the opportunity to respond. And like you can just kind of tell like that the administration was just bothered that this organization is here and trying to do what the school felt was their job and doing it better.
Right.
And effectively. Yeah. But like I was talking about, in terms of like facing challenges from the administration, in 1972, so this was the year that, they admitted almost 1,000 new Chicano students. And they did that. So sorry, I should have mentioned this before, but one of UMass's like strategies was that they ran summer programs that were basically like college preparedness programs, and not necessarily just from like an academic standpoint, but it was basically how can you as a Chicano student like thrive in this new environment that is very like, predominantly white and very just antagonistic towards our existence as Chicanos. And it was very successful, and like the transition rates of students from those summer programs into the greater school year were high. And then in 1972, the school administration replaced the UMass administrators with two men who immediately started working to undermine the goals of UMass. And sorry, what?
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. The effects of that were really felt. They saw a 33% drop in enrollment from 1972 into 1973. And students pushed back. They asked for these administrators to be removed. And they were not heard. They were not just not heard, but the school basically threw roadblocks in front of the students. Financial aid wasn't dispersed properly, so a lot of students went without textbooks and without funds. And like that's real shitty. Like you can't function in an education environment like that without your like the resources and the texts that you need to just be able to follow the class. And like a lot of the students that were supposed to receive that financial aid were poor, and so they didn't have a family to just turn to be able to fund their schooling. So the administration put up these roadblocks, stopped financial aid, and then there was apparently some shady stuff happening with the funding that was being facilitated by the administrators, the UMass administrators, who were Joe Franco and Paul Acosta. And so the students decided that they needed to not just request the removal of, these, I can't even, just I mean, not counter-revolutionary necessarily, but just counter-humanistic, like administrators. Like they didn't want like a sorry, I'm like struggling with my thoughts on this.
Reactionary? Would you call them reactionary?
I guess, yeah. But it's like, I don't know. I've kind of lost my train of thought. I'm not gonna lie.
No, you're good. I mean, because I think that it's just so interesting that there was this level of friction or tension, I guess, probably even beyond that, between UMass and the campus administration. And, I guess I can't say it's super surprising, but the degree to which there was, and I'm sure that, I don't want to step on what you're going to get to, but, the level of conflict that eventually kind of happens in this moment is pretty shocking. And I think a lot of it can be traced back to this inherent tension that it seems like the university had towards the goals of UMass.
Yeah. So my question, and sorry if you addressed this and I missed it, but like, did the administration have an official position on like why they were acting this way, or like what, like, did they have any kind of justification for this shit at the time? I feel like we know that it was just racism, but like, what were they saying at the time, if anything?
Yeah, so I kind of touched on it, but just with like feeling that UMass was like aggregating too much power and they were asserting too much control in what the school administration felt was their rightful like power of
their
controlling
job
curriculum and recruiting students.
But they like weren't really doing.
Yes,
that.
Exactly.
They're like,
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, because
so,
like at the
like,
time, Colorado's population was 11% Mexican American, and they had 28 students at CU Boulder.
Right, and they're like, that's how we like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Cool. I mean, not cool, but I
yeah, it's like we are doing our job. We're keeping them out. Like
right,
that's
exactly.
our job.
Right, but that's just wild to be like, well, you shouldn't be recruiting because we're the ones who are supposed to be recruiting. Like, okay, well, you're not, and like we did a demonstrably better job of it. So
yeah,
that sucks.
Recruit and retention, like, and supporting. I mean, building community is like that keeps people around. Like when they actually feel connected to a space, versus just being another face in a crowd, and especially a not like, God, I'm so sorry, I'm struggling with my language right now. Like a not represented like person.
Sure, or like a marginalized group, yes. You could say.
Yeah. But yeah, so there was a lot of tension at the time between the students of UMass, the school appointed UMass staff, and then the school itself. And it all kind of came to a head in May of 1974. On May 13th, a group of students and their supporters, I believe it was about 70 people in total, began an occupation of the UMass offices in TB1, Temporary Building 1, on CU Boulder's campus. And they're literally the main demand of the students was just to remove Franco and Acosta from their positions as the director and vice director at UMass. And it did not go well, in like the grand scheme. Like the negotiations did not go well. There was a lot of tension. There was a lot of back and forth, especially from Joe Franco, who was the director of UMass, the school appointed director. He just was not, like, the students didn't feel he was approaching in good faith or that he had any intention to actually hear the students. At one point, the other like staff of UMass, like the school appointed staff, said that if Franco and Acosta go, like they all go, and the students cheered for that because they're like, you're not supporting us. Like, if you want to go, like that's what we want, because then we have, you know, better control or can work with people who actually want to work with us.
Very much a don't threaten us with a good time kind of thing.
Yeah. Yes. So it ended up, the occupation lasted 8 days. There was heavy police presence, despite the fact the police never like moved in to try to remove the students. In interviews of people who were there during the occupation, they recount like hearing boots on the roof of the building that they were in above the UMass offices, which is like, I can't even imagine how terrifying that was. Because like contextually, like as brown people going up against like forces of the state at the time, like this is what 6 years after Martin Luther King dies. Like this is, you know, fresh off of COINTELPRO and just state violence against minorities fighting for their liberation within this country. Like, very scary. And kind of tying into that, while this occupation is happening, the Boulder Chicano community ends up experiencing 2 car bombings targeted at former UMass members and just active Chicano activists in the local Colorado scene and the greater national scene. The first happens on May 27th in 1974, and 3 people were killed. Their names were Neva Romero, Una Jocola, and Reyes Martinez. And this happened like right on the street at Chautauqua Park. I don't know if either of you have ever been there. It's a pretty, you know,
many times
famous park in Boulder. And yeah, this just happened right there, right outside of the park. One witness recounts finding one of the victim's IDs embedded in a tree that was nearby because the force of the explosion it literally forced a piece of plastic into a tree.
Wow.
Yeah. And so that happens at Chautauqua Park. And then not even 48 hours later, on May 29th, in the parking lot of a Burger King, a second car bomb goes off and kills Heriberto Terán, Florencio Granado, and Francisco Doherty. And there was a 4th person present who was injured and ultimately lost one of his legs, and his name was Antonio Alcantar. And this shit, like, this rocks the local community. I mean, they're actively occupying a building and fighting for their rights in one place. And then this extreme violence just, like, is devastating.
Well, yeah, it probably makes people, you know, I would say the intended effect is to make people afraid to engage in that type of activism. You know, it very understandably scares the shit out of people, as it should.
Yeah. Yeah, the police, the police investigation, unsurprisingly, tries to blame these activists for their own deaths, claiming that they were going to put these bombs in Boulder to terrify people into trying to influence the greater political scheme. But there's no evidence of that. No.
And that's just, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, no evidence has ever been released from these investigations. No findings have ever been released that like definitively say that. They only, I think within the last few years, actually like released one of the reports from the investigation, and it doesn't actually prove the police narrative at all.
Right. So we're supposed to believe that two separate groups on two different days accidentally blew themselves up with car bombs in their own cars. That the first group did it, and that the second group learned nothing from that. And all, like, come on. I mean, it's just, not sorry for tinfoil hat time, but like, it's so fucking CIA coded. It's like unbelievable.
Yeah.
That it's like they fucking killed those people, and then we're like, oh, they probably accidentally killed themselves. Well, case closed. Like, come on. What a fucking crock of shit, man.
Yeah.
Not buying it.
Not even a little bit. Especially after reading through the edition of El Diario de la Gente, which was a newspaper put out by UMass students from CU Boulder, and just reading like the firsthand accounts of these activists and of the community feelings at the time. It's just all so suspicious. Like, I don't believe the police for a goddamn second.
No, I did. So I'm assuming at the time, people did not believe the narrative that they had accidentally blown themselves up in cars, right?
No, not at all. At least not the people from the community, obviously.
Right. Yeah. The people from the Chicano movement, I'm sure, and the activist movement knew what was up, but,
Yeah. And just so for like some more context around the people who were killed, who I didn't mention this before, which is wild. They became known as Los Seis de Boulder. They were 6 people, young people, martyred, and they became figures in their community because it's a horrible fucking thing. But also they were all activists. Reyes Martinez was a CU law alum. He was an attorney. One of the statements in El Diario talked about how he lived out of his car. His car was his office, and he was constantly all over Colorado doing work for Chicanos who needed representation and needed somebody to fight for them. Neva Romero was 21. She was a junior at CU, and people talked about how dedicated she was in her activism and advocating for children and increased access to education, which is, still is a huge barrier for people who don't have opportunities in this country. Una Jocolo was 24. She wanted to be a lawyer and help people. Heriberto Terran was 24 also. He was also a CU alum. He was also a UMass activist. He was a poet and had written a poem dedicated to the first three victims, to Reyes and Neva and Una, before, you know, he was himself martyred. And likewise, Francisco Freddy Granado gave a speech after the first bombing. He gave a speech on May 30th outside of TV1. And then the next day they martyred him too.
Yeah, that shit's not a coincidence, you know?
Right? He was a former UMass president. Like, he was he was one of the students pushing for this stuff while he was at CU Boulder. He was a journalist, like a community journalist, not like trained, not like working for a big publication, but he put out his own publication called El Escritor del Pueblo. Francisco Doherty was the sixth victim that died. He was only 22. He was a pre-med student. He wanted to be a doctor. He wasn't even from here. He was visiting from Texas, and he came here to work that summer with the Colorado Pinto program, which was a program for ex-convicts to get them like reestablished into society. And so all of these like people were activists, and they were fighting for, you know, for equal rights and for better access to education and for just better resources for their communities. And it's the exact same shit that they did to like the Black Panthers, you know, like targeting the leaders of the movement and basically cutting the legs out from under you so you don't know how to keep going, or you can't keep going because your grief is too large.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very Israel coded too. It's CIA coded. It's also very Israel coded to be like, oh, those Hamas rockets, they shot themselves. They blew up their own hospital. Silly Hamas, like, you know, and they always are targeting the people, you know, deliberately targeting the people with the loudest voices, the people that are known in the community, the people that are doing work. Both to silence those people, but also, yes, and so that your grief makes it so that you can't do the work, or so that you're terrified because you're like, you know what, I believe in all of this shit, but I don't want to leave my family behind and get blown up in a fucking car bomb, so I better just stop. You know, and it's crazy. I didn't even know that this happened. Like, I went to CU, granted CU Denver, the redheaded stepchild of the CU system, not CU Boulder, but like I had no idea that this shit happened. I mean, sorry if I'm like spoiling anything that you were going to say, but like my understanding is that people think there's some suspicion that this was part of COINTELPRO and that potentially the CIA collaborated with CU Boulder to kill these people so that they would shut the fuck up and to like kneecap the movement, basically. And it certainly tracks, you know, like the idea that like you would accidentally, what you're like testing out car. I mean, I don't know. It's just, yeah, especially the second ones where it's like, okay, so like I wouldn't even believe it with the first ones, you know, that they like accidentally blew themselves up with a car bomb. But it's like, what, I'm supposed to believe that like the other people saw that happen and we're like, oh, okay, well, we'll just do the same thing. And like, it's wild. Like, it's like they don't even fucking try. That's the thing about the fucking CIA. They don't even fucking try to hide this shit because they can just get away with it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, it's crazy that like car bombs in general were like really having a moment in the 70s, like literally around the world, and talking about like, you know, states using them as forms of violence against enemies of the state, in so many words. Like the Pinochet regime used a car bomb to kill a Chilean diplomat who had been in office under Allende. They being Pinochet, blew him up using a car bomb in Washington D.C. in 1976. So there is like a lot in there during, like I said, during the 70s. Like there's so many of these like, again, the degree to which it's COINTELPRO or like these groups using these as like tools of asymmetric violence, I don't know if that's like go into the parsing on every account here, but like the Weather Underground was really busy during this time doing car bombings. The IRA was really busy in the early 70s using car bombs, and the fucking Red Army faction in West Germany. And I just think it's so interesting that, like you were saying, CG, that like there was an example of this asymmetric violence, either instigated by or done by the fucking CIA or whatever, or planning to be used, but like and no one fucking knows about it. Like I had never heard of this before I moved here, and I had barely heard of it at all since moving here. And the way that it's been completely memory hold, not to overuse a term, is genuinely shocking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's right. Because it's like, I'm like a weird history nerd. I live in Colorado. I'm a leftist. And I had no fucking idea that this happened.
Same.
Any of it.
I know. Yeah, same.
It's wild, where it's like, it's like a deliberate, I mean, it's intentional. It's intentional that we don't hear about this shit. And it just also, it's like, with the car bomb thing, I feel like if you look at the kind of activism work that those people were doing, it's like none of them were really...
They were fighting to build a better world for their people.
Right. And so it's like, it doesn't like, if you're trying to like increase education access, a car bomb, it just doesn't make sense. Like that I feel like there are, whatever, I'm obviously anti-violence, violence is bad, and, et cetera, disclaimers. But like, I feel like if you're the IRA, yeah, it kind of makes sense to like blow shit up, right? If you're like a revolutionary group that's like trying to kick the British off of your fucking territory, it makes sense that you would blow shit up. If you're a student activist, it's like, I'm trying to like get more poor Chicano people enrolled in school. How would a car bomb like serve your purpose at all? Like an occupation of a campus building, sure, that tracks. But like, what would they even be hoping to accomplish with a car bomb? Like, it just doesn't make sense. But like, it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. They obviously achieved their goal of shutting those people up, scaring the shit out of everybody else in the movement, and then memory holding it so it doesn't really get talked about anymore. And that's pretty scary. It's pretty shitty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that's a really interesting point, because like the other groups, like you mentioned the IRA, who are like expressly like, we want to use violence to affect political change, or like the Weather Underground, who are like, we are opposed to the Vietnam War. We're going to use violence against the state because the state is using violence all around the world every day, all the time, and we only have so many recourses to effectuate actions against the state. To my understanding, like you were saying, that's not what UMass was. Like UMass wasn't radical, holy, in the way that someone like the IRA or the Weather Underground or the Red Army faction were. So for them to adopt this method of, again, asymmetrical violence, it doesn't exactly seem to like pass the smell test, Yeah. So.
Yeah. Especially with the lack of evidence, like, against them, and like the evidence that has been just lost by BPD, like none of it tracks and none of it jives. And like, I don't know if the police thought was that like the point of the alleged bombs were to maybe influence like the occupation and like the push towards UMass's goals by creating fear. But like you got like you were saying, like that doesn't really jive with trying to create better like educational opportunities for people. And ultimately, like, the students got their demands met through the occupation. The occupation ended the same day of this as the second bombing, and the administrators that they wanted pushed out, Acosta and Franco, were pushed out. The school board agreed to putting an inquiry board in place to like manage like student complaints. And yeah, just became a really, really dark time there with the bombings. But there was small wins, I guess.
Yeah, that is heartening. Really sucks that and they were so young, my God.
Mm-hmm.
So young. It's just, yeah. It's really awful. And just the fact that I fucking graduated from CU and had no idea is really blowing my mind.
Yeah. There's a memorial on campus now in front of TB1, which I don't know if I'm misunderstanding, but the building's name is literally Temporary Building 1, and it's still there, I think, after 50 years.
Yeah, you obviously didn't go to school in Colorado. That's how we roll here. We had temporary buildings at my high school that they're temporary in name only.
Wait, are you serious? That's like a Colorado like education thing?
I would say so. Yeah, they were called the temps. You would have classes out in the temps. It was like my school had been built, yeah, that's very, very common. You have like these shitty fucking outbuildings because they like won't spend enough money to build a big enough school or make a permanent solution. So you essentially just like go to class out in a double wide. And it is just not at all surprising to me that CU Boulder would have a temporary building around for 50 years. That definitely aligns with my experience of education in Colorado. Yes.
That's so funny and so fucking stupid, dude. That's like, I had no idea. That is a good local insight.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, much like the building, the installation was only supposed to be temporary, which is shameful in my opinion. But there was a lot of pushback for multiple years, and I think as of the installation was put in 2019. I think in like late 2020 they agreed to make it permanent as it should be. Like that shit was overdue. Cause yeah, like most of these people were CU alums. Most of them were UMass members. Like the ties to the community can't be stated enough. And yeah, I think that just speaks to the attempt to memory hole it, like you were saying, AJ.
Yeah, you're going to kill your students and alumni in a car bomb. You're going to collaborate with the CIA to kill your students and alumni with car bombs. The least you could fucking do is put up a decent memorial. My God.
Yeah.
Go Buffs.
Or an apology, God forbid.
And they do have they have a scholarship now too, right?
For Los Seis?
Yeah.
I am unsure. I did not come across that in my readings, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I think it says the intent of the Los Seis Memorial Scholarship Fund is to support any student whose background would bring economic, racial, or ethnic parity representation to the student body at the University of Colorado in Boulder. So
nice.
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah. It's just $6,000, $5,000 scholarships annually. And how much does it cost to go to CU Boulder? $40,000 a year?
Yeah,
something
fair.
like that.
That's fair.
So,
I mean, college
sure,
should be
fine.
free. Like, realistically, we shouldn't need any fucking scholarships, but we live in the world we live in.
Well, how much are they giving out in football scholarships for their
No.
shitty fucking football team? My question. I haven't even been following them, but I assume they're kind of shitty this year because they're usually pretty shitty. So
you're actually a fucking sports fan. Like you keep bringing sports into the conversation. Like
secretly following that shit. No, just so I can hate on it. All right, I am an educated and informed hater. All right, I hate from a place of knowledge, and yeah, but I really hate that we put. those scholarships should be full rides. What the fuck? Instead, we're giving to stupid football players so they could all get CTE. Anyway, topic for another episode. Anyway.
Yeah. So, was there? I didn't want to cut us off. Was there more on our Boulder 6, the Boulder 6?
I think I covered everything I wanted to cover. There were a couple like tie-ins I had put in as notes that I didn't quite get to, but like there'll be things we talk about in future episodes, like the story of Kiko Martinez, who was Reyes Martinez's brother. And yeah, I look forward to continuing to talk about this movement. I've really appreciated expanding my knowledge on local history, and I look forward to continuing to share that.
Yeah, Bug, what was that book that you...
I literally have it in front of me right now. It's called Enduring Legacies, Ethnic Histories and Cultures of Colorado. It's a compilation of essays that was put together by Arturo Aldama and a team that he had with him, who is was actually a professor at CU Boulder.
How about that?
So, but I have not gotten through the whole book yet, but it is a compilation of essays, like I said, that covers Chicano history, Black history, and Asian history in Colorado over different time periods. And I've learned a lot.
Very cool. Books are good.
Yeah.
We're pro book. This is a pro book podcast.
So,
definitely pro literacy.
Yes.
It's
At a
important,
bare
man.
minimum.
The death of media literacy in this country.
Yeah. I feel like you were saying, this will be one of a continuing kind of ad hoc series about this movement. I also do think that, diving into like the CU system, since we do have a proud alumnus here
Okay,
with
let's
us.
not... No,
Proud might be a strong word.
Won't stop talking about it.
That's how I feel about
Brings
my
it
school,
up in
too.
every conversation. No, I'm... I think there's a lot of interesting stuff about the CU system and about higher education in general. Like, the first time I remember like hearing about like CU was when, do you guys know that Professor Ward Churchill who like called the people who died in 9/11 like little Eichmanns?
Yes.
Yeah, he's an interesting cat.
He is an interesting guy. He was like one of the only kind of dissenting voices around when 9/11 happened and the country went through like a collective psychosis. That was he was like one of the few people. It was like him and Bill Maher that like had even the slightest level
every
of
now
pushback.
and then Bill Maher will accidentally get something right.
Ugh, no, that's right, exactly. But no, Ward Churchill is a storied... Yeah, he's a Colorado, because he also like supposedly like said he was Native American, but then they like tried to say that he wasn't actually Native American. But now that I am older and wiser and more tinfoil hat pilled, I'm like, no, that was just the CIA trying to discredit him. Like, I don't know about that. I don't know if I believe it.
You mentioned like him being like a voice kind of in the wilderness, or like voice of dissent after. I think he wrote that, like, I think it's called like On the Justice of Roosting Chickens, like Chickens Are Coming Home to Roost or something like that. He wrote that like the week after September 11th, which is like, that was... And again, I was like 7 or 8. How old was I when that happened? Jesus Christ. I was 8 when that happened. But I remember hearing about that and everyone being like, yeah, this guy is a traitor and he's in Colorado. I was like, oh, everyone in Colorado is a traitor. That's good to know.
Yeah.
So
I remember, so one of my CU Denver professors is actually Native American, and he had a very positive relationship with Ward Churchill, for what it is worth.
That's fascinating.
Glenn Morris, and I actually saw him out at a Palestine protest like back in 2023 and cried a little bit because he was a big part of me forming my views. He was a big part of sort of my leftist foundation. So shout out to Professor Glenn Morris at CU Denver.
The real ones stay real. That's how you can tell they're the real ones.
It's true. It's very true.
Yeah. But no, we should do a Ward Churchill sidebar at minimum, or maybe even a full episode, because he's a really fascinating guy, in his way. But so yeah, was that? I think we're good to move into our end cap here. Upcoming protests, upcoming events.
Yeah,
let's do it.
I feel like it's mostly the same again. Like we said on the top of the hour, the Monday vigil from Jeanette. This will be out after it happened, but the one on the 8th is being hosted by the Revolutionary Communists of America, and I'm friends with a couple of them, and I think they're pretty cool cats. I appreciate them, and I look forward to continuing to organize with them. The Saturday vigils that CD7 does for Palestine, those are at 10 a.m. at 5250 Wadsworth Bypass.
By the In-N-Out,
yes.
Across from the Costco.
Yes. 5051 is continuing to do their overpass protests. They have them pretty much every weekday, it seems like. Not quite every weekday. They're kind of like all over the metro, so you just kind of have to check out their flyers for it to see if any of those locations and times work for you. They're also doing the Fox takedowns still on Saturday at 1 p.m. at like 100 Spear Boulevard outside of the KDVR Fox affiliate station there. And, with that potential merger, there's some drama. So that's just scary that we do not need more media consolidation.
No, and
Connor Clark, you can still join our podcast. The offer is still open.
The offer will stand forever.
That's exactly never ending.
I want to know what his like real views are, because that like public figures are never fully fucking out, especially like people who are trying to play into like mainstream party politics and stuff. Like they're never fully out about their actual like ideals. They're never brave enough to do that shit because they know the money goes away or the opportunities go away. But I don't know. I feel like he's one of those people that I think is further left than his public persona.
I've heard he's a third world Maoist.
Oh man, I mean, I would kind of label him. My guess would be he's probably like a Bernie Sanders progressive type. Like I doubt he's like probably not a third worldist, but I could definitely see him being more of a Bernie Sanders style left person. If nothing else, I appreciate him that I do feel that he keeps his foot on politicians' necks regardless of which side. Like he's definitely grilled the shit out of some Democrats, and I appreciate that because that's what journalists should be fucking doing. But yeah, that definitely need to keep the pressure on Fox News in light of that fucking merger.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Another place we're trying to keep. That, like, oh, sorry, no, you go.
No, sorry. I was just gonna say real quick that like you were saying, like I agree that like public figures often, especially in media and those kind of positions, will like temper their views because they know like where their bread is buttered. But I also do, to their credit, think that like they do have something to lose by they could lose their job, and probably a well compensated job. So that they do have some level of skin in the game. So I think that not only are they just being totally careerist or totally transactional or mercantile by not espousing their views. I think there's something to be said for them like having something to lose. There's level of skin there, I guess is what I would say. Obviously we wish that they would be more vociferous, but yeah,
especially because we all kind of face that, like not to the same, obviously being in the public eye is a different like level of that, but like we all can face potential repercussions in this country
Right.
for our political views and our employment, because only one state has protections around firing at will. So
It's Montana, by the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
That state is Montana.
God, I hate that shit.
Yeah, most people do, but that's why I'm a hooker, guys, because I can't get fired for my political beliefs. You could speak to the manager. It's me. I'm the manager.
Yeah.
Fuck yourself.
Yeah, being
but yeah,
self-employed is nice from that perspective, because like
Yeah.
I 100% filter my clients for like if I show up to like meet a potential client and they have like a fucking Trump flag in front of their house, no, I'm not taking that job.
For sure. It is one of the nice things about not being owned by your fucking employer. That's the good old capitalism at work. Hey guys, who's our sponsor this week? We should really figure this out before the episode. But we didn't. So is it Wolves?
I'm down with Wolves.
Yeah, I think their check came in. The Wolves sent me their check. So.
Oh, okay, perfect. No, that makes
Yeah.
sense with how hard we've been going for them. Okay, cool. So this episode of the Denver Protest Podcast is sponsored by Wolves. Wolves. Fuck sheep. Oh, oh, oh. There's your wolf noise.
Oh,
That
that's
was really good.
beautiful.
I love that.
Oh wait, did we do that preemptively? Did we miss any protests coming up? I don't think we did we?
We do. We have a couple things coming up, but that's okay.
All right, okay. Just that was in the middle. In the middle. It's fine.
I'm
We're
here
going to
for
charge the
it.
Wolves more for that ad placement
Yes.
since it comes in the middle
Yes.
of the episode.
Exactly. That was planned. It was planned.
We just
Please
have a few
continue.
things coming up. From the No Concentration Camps in Colorado Coalition. There's going to be a protest this upcoming Saturday, the 13th, at 10:30 a.m. Excuse me. This protest is going to be outside of the Hudson Correctional Facility at 3001 Juniper Street in Hudson. That is the next potential opening site of a concentration camp here that is looking like it is going to open within the next month or two. So this is a boots on the net kind of a situation, in terms of contacting representatives, contacting city officials if you live in Hudson. Even if you don't, you can still try. They probably aren't going to listen to their own constituents. So, being not from Hudson, they're probably just going to delete that shit. But if it makes you feel better, do it, because it wastes their time and we love that shit.
Why not? We do love wasting their time. Also, just so everyone knows, Hudson is not that far away. I was thinking that it was like way out on the Eastern Plains for like hours, but it's only like a 40-minute drive.
Yeah, I think it's the
downtown,
closest
so.
of the proposed sites to like Denver proper, because the rest are kind of far out.
And it's pretty close to the wild animal sanctuary. So you could like make a whole day of it and like go do the protest and then also go to the wild animal sanctuary, which I haven't been to, but would like to go to.
Yeah. I think there might also be like a fall festival happening later that same day in Hudson.
Okay. Yeah. See?
I think there might be like a potential like flyering effort happening, but I have not kept up with the chat. I'm not going to lie.
It's all right.
It's been
You're
a busy
forgiven.
week. But the next day, on Sunday, September 14th, this is not a protest, but it is a, solidarity kind of a thing. Mexican Independence Day is September 16th. And on the 14th, there is going to be a free, family festival called Fiestas Patrias. This is happening at the Colorado Springs Flea Market, completely free. Family activities. There'll be food to buy. It's a flea market, and I fucking love a good flea market. So, potentially worth checking out, especially if you live in the South Metro at all. There will be a protest on September 16th, called A Day Without Latinos. I've also seen the tagline, Grito in Colorado. This is happening September 16th, which is Mexican Independence Day. It starts at 10 a.m. at the Capitol. I think it's slated to last until like 7 p.m. One of our like community members is kind of like spearheading this. She's a Chicana and wants to, see her people supported. So she's the driving force behind this. And I think if you can show up, like from 10 to 7, that's a long fucking window. Like if you have any spare time on the 16th, make the spare time and try and show up if you can. I think that
absolutely
does it. You guys know I'm big on solidarity.
Yeah. It's a pro solidarity podcast.
Yeah.
Not the Polish labor movement from the 80s.
In case you were confused, in case
someone was out there. Do they mean the Polish labor movement from the 80s?
Nah, we don't. That's not what we meant. We just meant general solidarity.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. This is a good one. I think listen, I'm going to go out on a limb. This feels like one of our better ones. Top 10 at minimum.
It's not hard when this is only number 12.
Shh, no.
Well, there you go.
Let's circle back in a year and see how it stacks up.
Yes. Well, thank you for that plug.
When we have real sponsors and Kyle Clark as our fourth mic and we record in a studio.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Big things.
To next year at Applebee's. All right.
I think
that's pretty much it.
Have a fantastic week, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.